Hello everybody, today we are going to classify triangles. Now every triangle can be classified in two different ways. One way is by the length of sides and the other way is by the measure of the angles. Let's look at lengths of sides. Every triangle can be classified as either equilateral, isosceles, or scalene. An equilateral triangle has sides that are all the same length. Each side is the same length. Isosceles triangles have two sides that are the same length. So there's 1, 2, and one side isn't, of course. So two sides are the same length. Here's another example. These two are the same length. This one is not. So isosceles triangle has two sides that are the same length. A scalene triangle has no sides the same length. So if you look at these examples, none of the sides are the same length. So every single triangle is either an equilateral triangle, an isosceles triangle, or a scalene triangle. Now every triangle can also be classified by the measure of its angle. So that means in addition to being either an equilateral triangle, an isosceles triangle, or a scalene triangle, every single triangle is either going to be a right triangle, an acute triangle, or an obtuse triangle. So a right triangle has one angle that's a right angle. So if you look here, there's a right angle right here. And that little symbol here, as you know, means that it's 90 degrees, which is a right angle. A right angle is a 90-degree angle. Here's another right triangle because it has one right angle right here. And here's another example of a right triangle because it has one right angle. An acute triangle is a triangle where all three angles are acute angles. As you know, an acute angle is less than 90 degrees. So if you take a look at these examples, each one of these angles on this triangle is less than 90 degrees. They're acute angles. Same in this case here. All three angles are acute angles, which makes both of these triangles acute triangles. Now, let's classify some triangles. Let's look at this first one. We're going to classify it both by length of sides and measure of angle. So let's look at the length of the sides. If we look, we have a 6-inch side, a 6-inch side, and a 3 1/10 inch side. So we have two sides that are equal. So this is an isosceles triangle. Now let's look at angles. We have a 75 degree, a 75 degree, and a 30 degree. So all three of these angles are less than 90 degrees or acute angles. So this is an acute triangle. So this first triangle is an isosceles triangle and acute triangle. Now let's look at the second triangle. First, we are going to classify it by the length of sides. So we take a look. We have 9, 15, and 12. So none of the sides are equal. So that means it's a scalene triangle. Now let's classify it by its angles. If we take a look, I see a right angle here. Any triangle with one right angle is a right triangle. So this triangle could be identified or classified as a scalene triangle, right triangle. Now let's look at our third example. First, we're going to identify it by the length of sides. So we have 11, 11, 11. They're all equal sides. That means this is an equilateral triangle. Now let's look at the measure of its angles. And we notice that it's 60, 60, and 60. So all three of these angles are acute or less than 90 degrees. So this is an acute triangle. Now let's look at our last example. If we take a look first at the sides, we notice that two sides are even or equal, and one side, of course, is not equal. So this is an isosceles triangle. Now let's look at the angle and classify it by the measure of the angle. And I take a look and I notice that one of the angles is greater than 90 degrees, which is obtuse. So it has one obtuse angle. So this is an obtuse triangle. Now it's your turn to try a few on your own. Good luck.